Hey guys, Curtis with Wander with the Workmans here, and we are still in Montana, and today we're going to be talking about not just one campsite, but actually a series of campsites. Today's video is all about Old U.S. Highway 91 near Butte. So we found a stretch of road that is like a lot of others around the country, but it is uniquely fitted to our traveling style of going a few miles and just taking it slow and exploring things. And that is Old U.S. Highway 91. And it is basically the road that goes from Butte, Montana to Dillon, Montana. Or at least used to. There is the major freeway through here now, but if you stay on the frontage road between Butte and Dillon, you'll find quite a few of the Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Park Service's fishing access sites. They abbreviate that FAS, and you'll find that several of them allow camping with just a few mile hops along the way. So we've taken a chance to drive up and down this road a couple of times, look at some of those campsites and stay in some of those campsites. Now, this is a little bit different for our reviews because a couple of these we've only driven through. We haven't actually stayed there, so they're a bit more of a overview than they would be an actual review of the campsite. But this section of highway, or this section of frontage road, definitely worth checking out. Montana is a great state with a lot of outdoor activity opportunities, a lot of great history, especially if you get into Butte. But it allows you to take it slow and enjoy things on this little stretch of highway. Let's talk about kind of the generics of Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks fishing access sites. Now, they're all labeled fishing access sites, but some allow camping and some do not. And so it's really a good idea to check out the Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Park Service websites, and I'll leave that link in the description below so that you can look at each individual campsite. But they are generally a 7-day limit. Most of them are actually free camping, and they are primitive. Most of them include a vault toilet. A lot of them that allow camping do have some kind of picnic table around each campsite as well. The sites for being gravel are surprisingly level in our experience, and so that is also nice as well. Things to be aware of as a general rule: there is no water, there is no sewer or dump station in these campgrounds. The nearest ones are either in Butte or in Dillon, and there is no garbage service here. And in fact, some of the campsites have big signs that say pack it in, pack it out, do not take your garbage to local businesses. So they're very particular about that as well. Now, the other part of this that is actually really cool is that these string of campgrounds follow the Big Hole River and parts of the Beaverhead River all the way down into Clark Canyon Reservoir, and each of them are designed, because they're fishing access sites, to give you great access to water. So I'm going to take you through these as we've experienced them coming north to south. So I'm going to start with Salmon Fly Campground. Now, Salmon Fly Campground is about a mile outside of Melrose, Montana. Now, Melrose is a quaint little community. It's got a fly shop, a small hotel, and a gas station. That's just about it for Melrose, but it is cute little town, and it's got a couple of really neat looking buildings, so you want to check those out. The campground itself, just about out a mile outside of that town. That is one of those sites that they are very particular about garbage. There are the signs specifically that say, do not take your garbage into Melrose businesses. So they're aware of that, and something that they're watching for. Now, this is a relatively busy campground for day use, because it is very easy for the outfitters that are stationed in Melrose to launch their boats. They do about a 2.5-3 hour float from there south to Browne Bridge or Glen Campground, and so it's a great jumping off place for them because they are close to where they're centered. There are a couple of guide services that claim Melrose and Two Bridges, but so there is some day use activity at Salmon Fly Campground that you're going to contend with just about every day of the week. There are some special regulations in Montana that limit outfitter access on particular days of the week. So there's, depending on which campground you're in, you'll see a blank day where you don't see guides and outfitters. But as a general rule, pretty popular for them. However, the nice thing about this campsite is the boat launch and the day use area is distinctly separate from the camping area. And in this particular campsite, Salmon Fly, it is paid. It is $10 a night to camp there, but it is obvious that it is a paid site. The grassy areas are mowed. The vault toilet is checked regularly. The sites are graveled more thoroughly and more freshly than some of the other ones that we have stayed at that are free. So you obviously are seeing what your money is going towards. But that is Salmon Fly Campground on Old Highway 91. Now the next one moving south from there is Browne's Bridge. That's actually where I am at right now. Browne's Bridge is one of the free sites along Old Highway 91, and it accommodates approximately 6 campers. Now there's a couple of spaces that are very nice to pull off that have actually accommodated during our stay here, Class A's with toads, and so there are a couple of spaces here that you can access if you're in a larger rig. Now we are 23 feet long and 25 with the hitch, and we've been able to pull into we could have pulled into any of the sites. We picked the one with the most tree cover, so we had as much shade as we possibly can because it's August in Montana, and so we're basically camping on the sun. However, being this close to water has made the evenings absolutely wonderful. Now, single seat vault toilet here, and it is kept immaculate, and you don't notice the people coming in to service the vault toilet here. They come in, they clean, they leave. You never notice they're here. It's wonderful. And again, that vault toilet is always clean. Now you're also very close. You're about an 8-mile drive up a gravel road to Browne's Lake, which is a small, what would be considered an alpine lake because of its elevation, and that's another opportunity to access a different type of water, and there's hiking trails around Browne's Lake as well. So great little jumping off spot, and this site, well, basically splits the middle between Butte and Dillon. This is about the halfway point between those two cities at about 45-50 miles apart, depending on which exit you get on and get off on. So this is the midway point between the two towns, and I think it's a good place to stop here and mention that Butte, not apart from having the headworks history, the mining history, the Berkeley Pit, Our Lady of the Rockies tour, the mining museum, the mining college, there's a lot to do there. I will make one specific recommendation, and you want to do the underground tour in Butte, Montana. If you do one and only one touristy thing, do the underground tour, because the underground history, from speakeasies, underground businesses, steam pipes that kept the sidewalks from freezing, to even opium dens, is absolutely fascinating, and that tour definitely well worth it. And the speakeasy, the preserved speakeasy, is the highlight. So if you're going to make it into Butte, definitely do that one. A lot of the shopping is great. The downtown, or the old downtown, which is the Metal Streets, Mercury, Gold, Platinum, and the State Streets, Idaho, Utah, Montana, that area, just great walking history. You could just wander around and enjoy yourself. So that's my pitch for Butte. And apart from that, it is a fully functioning city. So they have a Walmart, they have several gas stations, several propane places to fill up. So Butte is a great place to resupply. Dillon, going south, is also a great place to resupply. They have a Safeway, a couple of fly shops, a really great restaurant called The Den. And it's right off the exit from the old frontage road. It is a wonderful place, and I hear the prime rib is really good. We're not sure because we didn't get there soon enough. 7:30 on a Friday, and they were out of prime rib, so that should tell you something about how good their prime rib is. But again, another wonderful little historical town with gas stations, propane fill places, fishing supply stores, anything you basically need to resupply. And here at Browne's Bridge, you are right between the two. So, rider's choice, you pick. Moving a little farther south now is Glen Campground. Now, Glen Campground is the first campground we experienced on Old U.S. Highway 91. We actually stayed there on our way up to Glacier, and now that we're making our way back south from Glacier, we decided to stop there again and check it out. Now, it is a bit wider open, so there's fewer trees than you're seeing behind me. This is Browne's Bridge. It's wonderfully shaded. Glen Campground getting slightly more sparse. There's a couple of well-shaded spots, but there are also some very open spots. Now, Glen Campground officially has 6 spots. You could probably fit 8 good-sized rigs in there. In fact, we had Class A's and schoolies staying there when we were there on our way north. So it does accommodate everything. Again, there is a vault toilet, very well-maintained vault toilet, great river access. It is a major takeout point for outfitters and guides, so you'll see a lot of day-use traffic as well. Again, the boat launch and the day-use area is very well separated from the camping area. Again, there is no garbage service, there is no water, there is no electrical at Glen Campground. But again, the sites are mostly level. You have great access, again, to the Big Hole River. And it is only about 6 miles away from another day-use area called Notch Bottom, and that gets you a different type of access to the Big Hole River, which makes for kind of a nice short little float if you have a kayak or something like that you can put in there at Notch Bottom and float for an hour or two just to get back to Glen Campground. So it's kind of a neat system there as well. The one thing to really be aware of with Glen Campground, while it is only about 3/4 to a mile off of the main highway, that road is exceptionally rough. You can make it. We made it just fine, but we took it very, very slow, less than 5 miles an hour, and we were able to make it down this road, but it is exceptionally rough. It is a washboarded dirt road for part of it, and the other part is a broken down, unmaintained asphalt road that they have put rough road signs on top of it. But it's a very short trip, and again, if you take it slow, you can get there. There appears to be 2 entrances to Glen Campground. As you approach it from Old Highway 91, you will want to take the second one. They're very close to each other, but you'll want to take the second one. The first one is very tight. It's a little overgrown when you're trying to access the main campground. So again, take the second exit at Glen Campground. Now, there isn't a campground between Glen Campground and Dillon as you head south. Once you pass Dillon, just about 7 miles past Dillon, you run into Barrett's Campground near Barrett, Montana. Now, we did not explore this one. It seems to be a very busy one. You can see it from the freeway, so you do have freeway noise to deal with more than the other campgrounds that I've mentioned. All of them have a little bit of that issue because they are relatively close to 15, but for being on top of the highway, Barrett's looks to be the closest. And again, did not take an opportunity to look at this campground, but it is one that is on the way south. And now that also then leads us to kind of the last destination that we have explored on this string of campgrounds along Old U.S. Highway 91, and that is Beaverhead Campground. But there are several that are around Clark Canyon Reservoir. And for Beaverhead Campground, the nice thing about it is its proximity to the highway. You get off the exit and it's just a quick turn back down. It parallels the freeway. So if you are just looking for an overnight stop, it is easy to access, wide open. It accommodates every single size of camping arrangement possible. So there's no question about whether or not you are going to get in there. It is a paid site, but it does have a campground host. There is maintenance going on. The areas are mowed and that kind of thing. The one other thing that sets it apart from a lot of these other fishing access site campgrounds is that it has picnic tables with picnic shelters or pavilions at each campsite. That is not something you generally get at the other fishing access sites. In terms of water access, really great because it is on the shores of Clark Canyon Reservoir. So if you're looking to fish, you're looking to kayak, something like that, it is a great place to access the river. It's also very close to the Beaverhead River. You've transitioned from the Big Hole to the Beaverhead once you get that far south, but it is very close. There are a couple of fishing access sites that are day use only, but they are within 2 miles of the Beaverhead campground at Clark Canyon Reservoir. So in terms of amenities at Beaverhead Campground, they actually have hand-pumped water, so you can do the hand pump and fill up your jugs there as well. Vault toilets, several throughout the campground. Again, they have a campground host, so they are well maintained at all times. Now, some things to be aware of about Clark Canyon. First of all, it's wide open. There are a couple of trees that are relatively short and they're very sparse in terms of their spacing, and so there's not a lot of shade. One of the things I forgot to mention about all of these fishing access sites that include camping is that all of the campsites have some type of fire ring, whether they're a very well-constructed stone fire ring or they're an actual metal fire ring. All of the campsites that we've explored have had fire pits with them as well. So there you have it. That's a quick look at Old U.S. Highway 91 between Butte and Dillon, Montana, and even a little bit past Dillon, Montana. Definitely a great string of campgrounds to check out, especially in this beautiful state, and a great way to slow travel if you take them 7 days at a time. In the meantime, you guys, if you got any other suggestions on where we should be headed, especially as we're taking our time through Montana, leave us those down in the comments below, and until next time, we'll catch you down the road.